The city, which attracted attention with its historical charm and picturesque scenery, was like a scene from a picture. Its narrow cobblestone streets, paved with gray stones, wound along a quiet river, the water of which reflected the colorful facades of the houses, as if an artist had painted delicate strokes on a canvas. The buildings were adorned with bright shutters and well-kept gardens, giving the area a unique allure. Autumn brought thick fogs and rains to the town, enveloping it in mystery. Leaves from the local plane trees, which grew along the roads, covered the ground in golden carpets, the rustling of which accompanied evening strolls. Here, every corner had its own story, eagerly shared by local residents with curious visitors. The townspeople were known for their warm hospitality and openness. Social life here thrived. Local fairs were constantly held where one could purchase products from local artisans or listen to stories from elderly residents sitting on benches in the park. An interesting aspect of this community was the diversity of its inhabitants' interests. From musicians to artists, photographers, and writers, everyone contributed their note to the melody of the town. Literary Foam was the center of the cultural life of the town, a cafe that united all fans of literature and creativity. Its warm light in the windows served as a beacon for everyone seeking inspiration or simply wanting to spend an evening in good company. This little corner of the world, filled with the aroma of coffee and discussions about art, was a place where different destinies met, new connections developed, and memories were born. Sofia was a bright ray of sunshine in the town's life. Since childhood, her charisma and confidence attracted the attention of those around her. Tall and slender, with short red hair that always danced in the wind, she captivated the eyes of everyone who saw her. Her brown eyes sparkled with enthusiasm and curiosity, immediately indicating her active nature and zest for life. Despite their character differences, with Emily being more reserved and contemplative, their friendship remained unshakable. Sofia often took the initiative in their shared adventures, from imaginary escapades in childhood games to participating in various school events. She had a knack for finding joy in simple moments and always supported Emily when she needed it. Their friendship was a form of balance. One helped the other, regardless of their differences. Sofia landed a job at the local newspaper, which gave her a unique opportunity to influence the life of the town. As a journalist, she researched, analyzed, and wrote about various events, engaging readers with interesting stories that unfolded in their community. Her articles sparked discussions and drew attention to significant social issues that she actively cared about. She not only covered cultural events and happenings but also highlighted problems that concerned the public, earning recognition among the residents. Sofia always found a way to approach topics from a fresh perspective, which was undoubtedly her talent. Feeling a sense of responsibility for her town, she became a voice not just for herself, but for the residents with their experiences and dreams. This passion for writing and desire to change the world around her only deepened her connection with Emily, who, in turn, continued to find inspiration in creating her poetry and stories. In this small town, where life flowed slowly, the friendship between Sofia and Emily was a vivid example of how two different personalities could complement each other, creating deep connections that one could always rely on. The Café, Literary Foam, became the heart of the cultural life of the small town. It was located in an old building with brick walls, where an atmosphere of inspiration reigned inside. The heavy dark wooden entrance doors were adorned with stained glass, reflecting colorful rays of sunlight into the café, creating a playful interplay of light and shadow. As soon as you entered, you were enveloped by the rich aroma of freshly ground coffee that filled the air, easing the tensions of the day. Cozy tables, where anyone could sit with a book or a notebook, were arranged to create a relaxed yet intimate atmosphere. The soft light from the lamps on the walls and tables created a comfortable space for conversations, reflections, and exchanges of ideas. The walls of the café were adorned with paintings by local artists, and the shelves were filled with books, from classic novels to contemporary poetry. Each visitor could take a book, sit in a corner, and enjoy reading with a cup of coffee, drawing inspiration from the stories written by talented authors. The café was not just a place to serve drinks, it was a platform for creative people. The owner of the establishment, a literary soul and philosopher at heart, often organized literary evenings where local writers could read their works, and visitors could share their impressions. These gatherings were filled with an atmosphere of encouragement, where everyone had the opportunity to support one another in their creative pursuits. Behind, Emily was always present, a girl with a kind heart and a passion for writing. She had a knack for creating an atmosphere in the cafe that made every visitor feel at home. Her sincerity and friendliness helped ease any tension, and there was hardly a visitor she couldn't listen to attentively. Literary Foam became a true sanctuary for all who loved art, literature, and good company. Here, new ideas were born, friendships blossomed, and an ordinary day turned into a special moment for inspiration and self-expression. Each cup of coffee at Literary Foam was not just a beverage but a part of the larger story that all its patrons created together. Alex, who arrived in the town during the prolonged autumn rains, immediately attracted attention. His attractive yet somewhat mysterious aura intrigued everyone around him. He settled in an old house on the outskirts, which dated back to past centuries, featuring high ceilings and large windows through which soft rays of sunlight flowed in during the day and the moonlight at night. The appearance of the house recalled the richness of history, and its walls were draped in ivy, creating the impression that the house had a life of its own. Alex had expressive brown eyes that seemed to illuminate the very soul of anyone who gazed into them. His curly dark hair often fell over his forehead, giving him a light, bohemian appearance. He always dressed simply, yet his style was unpretentious and elegant: fitted jeans, soft sweaters made from natural fibers, and shoes that could easily withstand even the rainiest weather. From the first day of his stay in the town, Alex explored the surrounding landscapes, inhaling the refreshing air mingled with the smell of rain. Although he was initially reserved, his curiosity about the culture of the town steadily led him to new acquaintances. In Literary Foam, Alex quickly became a notable figure. His presence filled the cafe with a special energy. He often tucked himself into a corner table by the window, jotting down his thoughts in a notebook, his pen swiftly moving across the paper as if trying to keep up with the flow of his genius. Local women, especially Sofia, could hardly resist the temptation to be intrigued by this enigmatic figure. But it was the creative souls who felt most drawn to him, seeing in him a kindred spirit. Alex attracted attention with his sharp intellect, piercing comments, and spontaneous sense of humor that he wove into conversations, alleviating tension and building trust. In the cafe, he was often seen as a new innovator, suspected of hiding deep thoughts and fresh ideas behind his contemplative expression. There was no doubt that Alex was the fresh note that the small town had been missing, and his constant presence promised many new experiences and perhaps even new love. A single glance at him was enough to understand that this person had something within him capable of changing someone's life, and perhaps even the life of the entire town. From the moment Alex arrived in the town, an invisible competition began to develop between Sofia and Emily, which became increasingly noticeable. Sofia, vibrant and confident, eagerly set out to win the attention of the new resident. Each time she entered Literary Foam, her heart raced at the sight of Alex, and her conversations with him became more frequent. Sofia employed all her charms and communication skills, trying to immerse herself in his world. She came alive in the laboratory of creative efforts, engaging with Alex about literature, music, and life. Her witty questions and genuine curiosity undoubtedly captivated Alex. Sofia skillfully integrated into their discussions, doing everything possible to win his affection. Each smile, each word of hers seemed like an attempt to get closer to this mysterious young man. Emily watched this with a feeling of bitterness in her heart. Although she felt a growing attraction to Alex, her reserve and natural shyness prevented her from acknowledging those feelings. Deep down, Emily knew that her friendship with Alex had evolved into something much deeper, but her fear of losing him and her concern about jeopardizing her friendship with Sofia held her back from taking action. As Sofia actively intruded into their communications, Emily began to feel insecure. All those long evening conversations that once brought her joy became heavier and more strained. She often wondered whether she could express her feelings and whether she deserved recognition for them, while Sofia seemed so confident and open. With each new literary evening that the three of them attended, the tension escalated. As Sofia tried to present herself as better in her interactions with Alex, Emily became increasingly lost in her thoughts, creating a sense of helplessness within her. She began to write poems about her feelings, about love and loss, about fear and desire, hoping that those lines might one day help her understand herself. Thus, beneath the surface idyll, a complex web of feelings, hopes, and doubts was forming among the three young people, laying the foundation for their relationships. This rivalry, in a sense, bound them together, prompting them to seek answers to questions that had previously not arisen. However, it also threatened to spoil the tender bond that was developing between Emily and Alex. The literary evenings at Literary Foam became a true tradition for the town. They regularly gathered creative minds from all corners, creating an atmosphere of inspiration where words and ideas intertwined like golden threads in a tapestry. Alex and Emily, collaborating, organized these events, adding new elements each time, from open mics to special themes that encouraged guests to engage in discussions. However, this evening was special. The weather, though cool, was perfect for a cozy gathering. Outside, the autumn rain poured, while inside, warm light created a calm atmosphere. Welcoming everyone, Emily felt a wave of anxiety wash over her, particularly because the current situation with Alex and Sofia weighed heavily on her heart. Sofia, sitting in a corner, tried to appear relaxed, but internally she felt a tremor. She knew that this evening would become a significant milestone in her relationship with Alex. Therefore, she prepared for the confession that she believed could change their lives. She constantly scanned the room with her gaze, looking for the moment when she could gather her thoughts and decide to have an honest conversation. The evening's proceedings began. Announcing the event loudly, Alex participated in the setup, showcasing his talent for engaging the audience. His clever, humorous remarks and heartfelt stories created a magnetic pull around him. He captured everyone's attention, especially Emily, who subconsciously sensed the mounting pressure of their competition. She tried to focus on her feelings, nurturing them in the form of poems, ready to come to life on paper. When it was Sofia's turn to speak, she suddenly felt an internal weight holding her back. Listening to others, to their conversations and literary works, she realized that her words needed to emerge. As she raised her hands to draw everyone's attention, it became clear to everyone that something important was about to happen. "I want to say a few words," she announced, her heart racing. All eyes were fixed on her, understanding the significance of this moment. The tension in the air filled the atmosphere, everyone holding their breath, waiting to see what Sofia would say. "Alex, you mean a lot to me. I know that there's a certain connection growing between us, and I can't hide it any longer. I have been in love with you for a long time," she confessed, her voice trembling with emotion. This moment became tense, and even Emily felt a pang in her heart. All present were frozen, as if waiting for Alex's response. There was a sense that they were all witnesses to a grand drama unfolding before them. At that moment, when the space was filled with silence, all gazes focused on Alex, who appeared to be contemplating his response, weighing his words carefully. His reaction could have consequences not only for himself but also for all three participants in this emotional triangle. In Literary Foam, everything that was happening was giving rise to a new chapter in their relationships. After the tense literary evening when Sofia confessed her feelings for Alex, the cafe remained filled with an atmosphere of excitement for a long time. All the guests discussed what had happened, but inside Sofia, there was a heavy feeling, mixed with hope and insecurity. She knew she needed to talk to Alex privately in order to leave no stone unturned in their relationship. As the evening came to a close and the last visitors left Literary Foam, Sofia gathered her courage and approached Alex, who was standing by the bar, contemplating the impressions from the evening. The soft lighting created a cozy atmosphere, but she knew that the uncertain future now weighed on their hearts. "Alex, can we talk?" she asked, trying to keep her voice calm, even though her heart was racing anxiously inside. Alex looked up and nodded, inviting her to sit down. They both found a cozy corner where they could hardly be overheard. The silence around them felt oppressive, and Sofia realized she needed to remove her masks and share her feelings honestly. "I truly appreciate our communication, and it's not a coincidence that I decided to confess. Every time we talk, I feel as though there's something more developing between us," she began, her voice sounding confident, but something trembled in her heart. Alex listened intently, his freckled face indicating focused interest. He was used to drawing attention, but here, in the conversation with Sofia, he understood he had to be completely honest. "Sofia," he replied, realizing he was speaking to a girl who had opened up her feelings to him. "Your words mean a lot to me. I'm really glad you took the risk to say this. However, I can't promise that I will reciprocate those feelings." His voice was calm, but there was a note of sincerity in it. Sofia realized that these words were not just a rejection, but also an opportunity for both of them to understand their true feelings. "I don't want to put pressure on you, but I feel that we need to talk about this normally. Perhaps our relationship can stay as it is." Her voice gradually faded, and she was no longer as confident as before. Alex pondered, trying to find the right words. "I appreciate your honesty, understanding that our relationship has exceeded the bounds of friendship. But I have someone else I rely on. That doesn't mean I don't value you or your feelings." He paused, observing Sofia's reaction. Sofia felt a slight sigh of bitterness, yet at the same time, she understood that she hadn't lost anything by opening up. "I just wanted to be honest with you. I value your openness and the fact that you never overlook my path. Now I know what to expect, and I can move forward." Her words resonated with the strength of acceptance of reality. This conversation became an opportunity for them to remove their masks and rid themselves of unnecessary doubts. Sofia, though with a heavy heart, felt relief from the realization that sometimes the most important thing in relationships is honesty. She understood that acknowledging her feelings was an important step for her inner growth. Now that she knew where she stood, a new vision of her relationship with Alex could emerge, along with the possibility to move forward. Alex, realizing Sofia's sincerity, felt a sense of relief. He didn't want to lose this friendship, and now that all the cards were on the table, they could find common ground based on understanding. "Sofia, I want you to know that, while I can't promise anything more, I value your friendship. You're remarkable, and I hope we can find a way to get through this together," he said, trying to encourage her. They continued to talk, freeing each other from doubts and fears. Sofia felt as if a heavy burden she had been carrying was lifted off her shoulders. The thought that she could express her feelings freely again gave her a sense of strength. As their conversation came to an end, silence enveloped them. Sofia remembered that there were still threads of friendship between them, and even if their relationship had changed, it didn't mean they had lost each other altogether. Sensing this, Alex took her hand, giving it a gentle squeeze as a sign of support. "This is not the end, but I hope, a new beginning," he said, his eyes radiating warmth. A smile reappeared on Sofia's face. She knew their friendship could withstand this trial if they were both willing to work on it. The situation that once seemed hopeless had transformed into an opportunity for new horizons. As they emerged from literary foam, they felt that they were not alone. In a town characterized by warmth and support, this conversation became yet another example of how communication could heal wounds and strengthen bonds. And although their relationships had transformed, the three of them, Sofia, Emily, and Alex, could continue to cultivate shared dreams and support each other on their creative journeys. Emily, always sensitive to the emotions around her, had accidentally overheard the conversation between Alex and Sofia during one of the literary evenings at Literary Foam. The words she heard pierced her heart, the confession from Sofia about her love for Alex and his cautious yet definitive responses. In that moment, she experienced a heavy feeling, a tumultuous blend of fear, despair, and the realization of how important it was to be kind to herself. Since that evening, Emily's thoughts circled around her feelings for Alex. She realized that sometimes it was essential not just to hide her emotions but to share them with those who truly mattered. This realization became the long-awaited awakening that pushed her into a new phase of her life. Sofia returned to her job at the local newspaper with renewed energy. She observed the life around her, noticing details she hadn't paid attention to before. Not only what was happening within the town as a whole, but also how people interacted with one another, in their relationships, feelings, and emotions. Sofia began to pay more attention to human stories, reading between the lines and noticing nuances that inspired her to create new articles. She decided to create a series of publications focused on personal relationships, intertwining real stories, observations, and her emotional experiences. Sofia began conducting interviews with people, asking questions that, through the lens of her own experiences, revealed the incredible depths of human relationships. Each interview also became a small therapeutic session for the respondents themselves. She notably uncovered topics that had previously remained beyond ordinary conversation: love, betrayal, loss, friendship, and forgiveness. Her ability to listen to and understand people only deepened her publications, making them impactful and sensitive. Sofia not only wrote about the relationships of others, but she also revealed her own emotions, peeling back the layers of her personal experiences. Observing how others dealt with love gave her the opportunity to reflect on her feelings and express them in her articles. Soon, her writings became popular, sparking discussions in the town and beyond. She received requests to speak at various events where she could share her perspective on love and relationships. Feeling that she was becoming not only a voice for her generation but also an expert in the realm of personal relationships, Sofia found immense satisfaction in her work. With each article she wrote, she felt her heart liberating itself from pain and gradually filling with new ideas. Sofia realized that while her love for Alex didn't materialize, new horizons had opened before her as she resolved not to give up. This new phase in her life helped her not only to find her own path but also to become an inspiration for others, demonstrating that even from bitter disappointments, new creativity and strength could emerge. Thus, she found her voice and her place in the world, helping those around her understand the importance of emotions and relationships. Despite all the emotional trials that Emily, Alex, and Sofia had experienced, their relationships had strengthened, taking on new shades. Emily and Alex found the courage to open up to each other on a new level, putting an end to assumptions and unspoken words. This openness solidified their bond, bringing greater trust and understanding. Every evening at Literary Foam was now filled with a special warmth. The café transformed into a hub of creativity, where literary evenings, seminars, and discussions on a wide variety of topics took place. Alex and Emily effortlessly shared their ideas, attracting supporters among the locals and visitors who came specifically to experience this cozy corner. Sofia, inspired by her literary achievements and new projects, continued to write actively. Her articles about relationships became popular, sparking lively discussions, and she even launched her own blog, where she shared her experiences and insights. Now her words were not just a source of inspiration for her friends, but also for the literary community that valued her sincerity and clarity. With each passing day, Literary Foam became not only a meeting place but also a symbol of unity, a space where emotions, relationships, and creativity merged into one. New literary competitions were held, exchanges among authors continued, and an idea even emerged for publishing a collection of works by local authors. Sofia, Emily, and Alex took on the organization of this project, combining all their talents. At the end of the year, during a festive evening at Literary Foam, they reflected on everything that had transpired. The café was adorned with Christmas lights, and the atmosphere was filled with laughter and joyful conversations. A series of poetry readings and performances by local musicians created an incredibly enchanting atmosphere. Together, they celebrated not only the successes of the past year but also each other. At the end of the year, during a festive evening at Literary Foam, they reflected on everything that had transpired. The café was adorned with Christmas lights, and the atmosphere was filled with laughter and joyful conversations. A series of poetry readings and performances by local musicians created an incredibly enchanting ambience. Together, they celebrated not only the successes of the past year but also each other. Emily, holding a glass of juice, raised it and declared, "To friendship, love, and creativity. To Literary Foam, our place where all these unforgettable adventures began." Everyone present echoed this toast, sensing that their community had grown stronger. Alex, smiling, added, "This place has become a symbol for all of us. Here we found each other, here we grew, changing for the better. May Literary Foam always be a hub of inspiration and love." Sofia, standing nearby, first looked at Emily and then at Alex, smiling as she felt that despite all the emotional turmoil, their relationships had gained a new depth. Despite some changes, their friendship remained unbreakable. They learned, grew, and supported each other regardless of the circumstances. And in a small town where the aroma of freshly ground coffee always lingered, Literary Foam remained a hub of creativity and warmth, its residents exemplifying how friendship, love, and dreams can transform lives for the better and unite a community into a strong and creative whole. The story of the three young individuals taught them much about the power of honesty, the importance of support, and the true value of relationships. They realized that life would always be filled with surprises and challenges, but true friendship and love could withstand any difficulties. Literary Foam became not just a cafe but a true symbol of the town, where everyone had the opportunity to express their thoughts, share their experiences, and find support among like-minded individuals. Here, beloved writers organized workshops, while local participants raised important social issues in their works, exploring themes of identity, love, and relationships. As the year came to a close, Literary Foam also became a witness not only to the creative growth and new ambitions of its residents but also to life changes. Emily received an offer to publish her own collection of poetry, which filled her with joy and pride. Alex, inspired by shared moments with Emily, decided to finish his novel and present it at a literary competition. Meanwhile, Sofia, having freed herself from emotional constraints, planned to launch a project that would unite young authors for the creation of a joint anthology. Each of them continued to seek their path in creativity, as well as support and inspire one another. They formed a unique team, taking on new challenges and together transforming their world for the better. Thus, the story of three young individuals, who once met in a cozy cafe, concluded on a triumphant note. They realized that what mattered most was not only what they had achieved but how they supported one another along the way. Together they created magic that nourished their souls, their art, and their town. In the end, Literary Foam became a place where not only words were born but also dreams, hopes, and new opportunities, uniting everyone who visited this enchanting cafe into one large, warm community. So ended the story of three friends, but its new pages were just beginning to be written.